The last type of tissue found in the body is muscle tissue. And muscle tissue is our contractile tissue to be able to move things around typically. And there's 3 types of contractile muscle tissue. The first type of muscle tissue is called skeletal muscle. And skeletal muscle is found all over the body attached to our skeleton. So it's going to be what we call a voluntary muscle. So think about this. Move your hand. Are you able to do it? Yes. Because the muscles that move your hand are voluntary. Your brain has control over them. It is also called a striated muscle. So you see these lines here. Those are the striations, and they come from the alignment of the sarcomere. So under a microscope, you'd be able to see this very kind of neat, organized striations, and they have what are called parallel fibers. The fibers in this case are cells, not like the fibers we found in cartilage, but you can see that this is a fiber, here's a fiber, here's a fiber, here's a fiber, and these are all going to run in neat parallel lines. And that gives our muscle fibers these neat parallel fibers to be able to effectively pull on the bones. And these are used in almost any kind of movement of the body movement or within the body. Muscles in your mouth moves your tongue to help you speak. Assisting in childbirth, so when you push to assist in childbirth through labor, that's skeletal muscle. Any muscle you can consciously control is a skeletal muscle. Cardiac muscle is only found in the heart, so this is one that'll only have a single location, and the only function for the cardiac muscle is to pump blood. So cardiac muscle is involuntary, meaning it doesn't matter how hard you consciously try, you can't stop or start your heart muscle. So it's going to beat on its own. It has striations. So like the skeletal muscle, it is striated, and you can see those striations here. They're kind of very faint, thin lines. And it has branched fibers. So you can see this fiber comes over here, and it also kind of branches off over here. And these fibers are connected like that. Right? And so these are one big fiber, and these branchings are all connected. In the skeletal muscle, the fibers were all very evenly parallel, but in the heart, we have these big branching fibers connected, and that's going to help the heart pump harder to kind of contract those ventricles and get blood moving through the body all in one jolt. Smooth muscle is found throughout the body to help move things around. So this is going to be found in like the lining of any of our tubes, like our digestive system or the blood vessels. And it is also involuntary. So it doesn't really matter how much you think about moving food from your stomach to your intestines. You don't have any control over those muscles. Those muscles control themselves with different feedback loops and different stimulus. So if you look here, there's a lot of functions that you don't necessarily have complete control over. So you swallow food to the back of your mouth, but it gets to your stomach on its own through your esophagus, the contraction of your stomach, the movement of feces through the colon, initial labor contractions, right? Not the pushing, but the actual labor contractions that you can't control. Blood pressure and flow through your arteries, your breathing. You can make yourself breathe faster or slower, but you're still breathing. Your diaphragm will move on its own through smooth muscle. These are not striated because there's no clear sarcomere striations, right? So there's no striping pattern on these tissues. And they tend to be kind of flat and elongated. So it's not really parallel lines, but it looks like we've got a whole bunch of tissues that were kind of squished together, and they stack on top of each other almost like pancakes. So reflect on as many differences as you can between these three different types of muscle tissues.